around Mumbai, our special show on NDTV, where we're talking about how Maximum City, the financial capital, has voted. Now, as of the numbers at 5 p.m., the turnout unfortunately points to perhaps not as high a number as we would have wished for. We're perhaps looking at a lower number even than 2019. Now, in this special show over the next 1 hour, me and my colleague Radhika Ramaswamy are going to get you the pulse of Mumbai. We are standing here at perhaps the most iconic location. When you think of Mumbai, you think of the Gateway of India. We have the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel right opposite, and of course, the crowd of people who have hopefully finished voting and then come to celebrate an evening with some time off, which is the most difficult thing for anyone in Mumbai,
or maybe
Radhika.
It's just an extended weekend for them and they really didn't bother to vote. So we don't know that yet. So yeah. But I did cover the elections since phase one, all the phases covered, long drawn phase as far as Maharashtra is concerned. Today, of course, I covered the length and breadth of the city, which included Mumbai South as well as Mumbai North Central constituency. And everywhere I went, the polling booths that I visited, there were very, very sort of short queues. There weren't long queues. The queues were short. People weren't as enthusiastic. We also found several of the names missing from the list as well. People obviously complaining about the heat. People also complaining about the changed political landscape. So perhaps that also may have demotivated
In what sense? Why would the changed political landscape demotivate voters?
So one gentleman that I spoke to in one of the constituencies in Mumbai South, he said, I voted for a certain party last time. They did come to power, but now I know they're not in power. So there is a disrespect of my mandate. So I'm very confused. This is disillusionment. So therefore, I'm not sure whether I should really believe the vote that I'm casting at this point. So those are the kind of reactions we were getting.
So you know, this is an interesting sort of summation of why the battle for Mumbai, and if I count MMR, which we should, 6 seats in Mumbai and then the surrounding regions, a total of 10 seats, why it becomes tricky, a little tough to call, but also a symbol of why Maharashtra is a bit of a confused situation. You've had this BJP and the Shiv Sena split in the last 5 years, and the Sena split among itself, the NCP, and so on and so forth. But the first point that we're going to talk about today, Radhika, is the voter turnout. You know, I would say the Election Commission has pulled out all the stops. They got the celebrities in, everything is online, and yet you've had a low voter turnout. That's the first thing that we're going to address today with our guests. And I really want to thank all of you guys, always in the studios, but today have descended down here at Gateway to speak with us. Shaina NC, Clyde Crasto, Sanjay Jha, Ajay Bagga, a great stock market investor, and of course we have this young student who's also going to talk to us about voter turnout, Seher, and I'm going to begin with you.
Okay.
All right. Now we're talking about the turnout figures.
Yes.
You are one of those people who've gone out and voted. Yeah, there you go. You've gone out and voted.
I did my duty today. I fulfilled my duty and responsibility.
So,
as the youth of the nation.
Did a lot of your friends also go out and vote? Did they not? Did people you know in your circle choose not to? What was the sense you got?
So a lot of my friends did end up voting, but what I have heard a lot is, as you mentioned, that since it was a longer weekend, a lot of people ended up leaving towns and they didn't find it important to be here and vote. But my close knit of friends, we all ended up voting and we all went together. It was more like, it was like a celebration for us. We were looking forward to this day for the longest time now, especially this year, because there are so many opinions that have grown amongst people that, we felt that it is extremely important to go out and cast a vote and select the right leader.
You mean not just tweet, retweet, comment on social media, go and do something about it?
Yeah, we had to. And in fact, what we did was we studied our candidates before going to vote, which was very important. Their plans for the next 5 years. We saw a few speeches that they, have given in the past. And that's how we made our mind. Each one had their opinions, and that's how we voted.
You're a model voter, Seher. Well done. Radhika, don't you think that was quite impressive?
Yes. But I didn't see that much of a young crowd today. Perhaps in the booth that you were at, but in many of the booths that I visited in, there were people in their 60s, the elderly that were excited to vote more than the younger ones. So Sanjay Jha, I'll come to you first. You were a congressman in the past, now political analyst. How do you look at the numbers, voter turnout, and what reason would you attribute it? Many, of course, attributing it to heat, long weekend situation. But when we spoke to few voters, they also termed the changed political landscape as confusing for them. So because of that, many didn't vote.
Yeah, I don't think it's the heat at all, because even the last Lok Sabha election, it was hot. I mean, every Lok Sabha election has been held during the summer. I think the real message from the people of Maharashtra and Mumbai in particular is that they have found the politics of, hijacking leaders from one party and appropriating them in the whole Operation Lotus, which is called as the big Chanakya Niti of our times, unfortunately. I think the message to the political system is that we will not endure this insufferable abuse of our verdict. And look at it like this, that in Maharashtra, probably the bellwether of this election, I think this is the most critical state. And let me put my neck on the line. This state, whichever party gets the majority, will form the government in Delhi. And I'm saying so because if you look at the trends, Maharashtra has always been...
But you're taking the opportunity to make a political point. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine.
It is realistic.
But the question that Radhika had on voter turnout, if people are so upset, as you're saying, then they should come out and vote in larger numbers.
Well,
the fact is that we have a problem in this city of people who would rather go for a long weekend, like Seher said, honest truth, or say at the end of the day, I don't want to stand in a hot line.
But Tamanna, hang on. And let me, before you interrupted me, the point I was making, which is relevant, and I would love to hear what Shaina and Clyde have to say, that today you have two NCPs, each one saying that the other is asli or a nakli. You have two Shiv Senas. You have the Congress and BJP, 6 political parties in contest, actually. Many people that I know who wanted to vote for the Uddhav Shiv Sena, for example, they had to figure out what the symbol was, which was unheard of in Indian politics earlier. So I think the message from the voter turnout, which actually until the official figures come out, we shouldn't really jump the gun, but is likely to be flat and maybe almost comparable to what we had last time. And normally the numbers should go up because the voter gets more enlightened. My takeaway is that the message from the voter in Mumbai and Maharashtra is enough of this buying and selling of, the MLA stock exchange of India that we have created. I think they are disillusioned. But they will give a verdict in this election where one political party is likely to get a message that enough is enough.
I think Shaina is waiting to respond.
Okay, first comment on voter turnout though, and then of course I'm sure you want to respond to what Sanjay is saying.
So if you look at South Mumbai, for example, 2014 you had 54%, 2019 you had 54% again. And I think that this time it should hopefully be slightly higher than that. But having said that, Tamanna, there has been no anti-incumbency. This is the first time you have a pro-incumbency because of the 10 years of good work done by the BJP and the Modi government. If you take a city like Mumbai, you just look around you, look at the infrastructure, look at the metros, look at the railways, look at the kind of facilitation.
We'll have to wait for the results to say that.
Yes, but the results are out. The results are out. Prime Minister Modi's magic has been seen by Mumbai. When he came for the rally itself, he has only talked about his progressive vision, a vision which has touched 60 crore lives. As Labhartis, you have seen the welfare schemes that have percolated down to the poorest of poor. And because there were only 4 vote banks, the women, the youth, the poor and the farmer, we have focused in a very driven manner to reach out to...
You think 54% is okay? Mumbai South is, by the way, the most notorious, wealthiest constituency, worst voting turnout.
In 2009, it was about 49%, which was even worse. And people came out and had a referendum. I hope that... I'm not for 1 minute saying that this is right, because when you make effort to get a passport or to get a visa or a driver's license, you make sure you go, irrespective of whether it's hot or not, stand in that line and get your...
I saw you in Mumbai South constituency today. In the polling booth, there was nobody. You could just walk in and vote.
The point is, the effort that one expects has to be something which is driven by the people also. This festival of democracy comes once in 5 years. So the appeal would be that more people do come out. But what was really heartening is to see how many senior citizens took the effort and made that. That's why I cited this example. For the younger generation also, that sometimes takes it as a weekend or a holiday or an extended holiday. The point is that you can only criticize the system if you vote. You can only question the leadership if you vote. If you don't, we'll just be discussing, deliberating.
Right. But it was about disrespecting the mandate that they spoke about. Many of the voters that they spoke about, the previous mandate being disrespected. So what do you have to say about the low voter turnout? Do you really believe that as a result of people feeling betrayed, they did not come out to vote, or is it the usual reason of law? Yeah, it's a combination.
What you said, Tamanna, and I was quiet when you were talking. Okay. The fact you said that, you're telling Sanjay that, is it because people don't want to vote for somebody, or, there's a low voter turnout. My thing is very clear. Everywhere you went, people spoke that vote for Modi ji. Every BJP ally said vote for Modi ji. You went across the city, you didn't know who the candidate was. You saw the poster of Modi ji, big Modi. So if there's less voter turnout, should I consider that people are not happy with Modi ji? Because if they were happy with Modi ji, they should have been 80% voting, 90%.
Sanjay Jai Singh, people don't know it's simple to vote on.
Absolutely, that's exactly the point. Because you went and you broke parties, you broke home. Last minute, the election commission
Are
had
you
to
saying
give
your
a
voters didn't know where to vote?
Well, Sanjay has a point. I also have the point is saying that, a lot of people were informed because they did their own research. But my point is, you're deflecting my point. My point is, every hoarding in this city had Modi ji's photo larger than the holding. Larger than the hoarding was
But
the
what is the point, Clive?
Exactly.
Why not?
My point, I said it. My point is, if the voting percentage is less, people are not happy with Modi ji. Because if they were happy with Modi ji, Shaina, I wasn't speaking when you were speaking. If they were happy with Modi ji, we could have had 80% voting. Why did they not?
Every voter that came out voted
Why not?
as
Why
a
not?
referendum for Prime
Why
Minister
not?
Modi,
Where?
and his
How come?
popularity is known to one and all.
One last point. Sanjay, one last point. If Shaina says that 2014 was the same percentage voting, 2019 was the same percentage voting, and now 2024 is the same percentage voting.
We don't know yet.
No, she's
We
saying,
don't
I'm
know
going to
yet.
what she said.
Election Commission updates. We don't know yet.
If we are around there, that means Modi ji has not grown. His voting capacity has not
That
grown.
means that could also mean your leaders have not been able to get 1 minute.
I just feel
I want
that
to listen to this young lady.
I just feel the atmosphere around is that there is an obvious winner, and that's why people are not bothering to get out and even vote, because they know that who's going to win. Maybe that's the atmosphere, which is not right.
Okay. Now, in the middle of all of this, I'm going across to Milind Deora, who's joining us now in this conversation. Milind, we're missing you here at Gateway of India. Really, here's where all the action is. But thank you for joining Radhika and me this evening on this show. Now, the hot conversation which is going on is about the voter turnout. The numbers we have as of 5 p.m. are frankly a little dismal. One expects that Mumbai, financial capital, will come out in greater numbers. Why do you think we are seeing this time and again, despite so many efforts from the Election Commission? What can be done to get Mumbaikars out and vote?
Tamanna, I apologize for not being with you in person. It's been a grueling campaign for me personally. It's very in a strange campaign in a way that I've not been campaigning for myself or a member of my family for 45 years. We've been consecutively on the ballot for 11 Lok Sabha elections from South Mumbai. And so therefore I'm doing it from home, not joining you in person. I apologize for that. The figures are not yet out in terms of how Mumbai has voted. The data is being updated by the Election Commission of India. To me, the turnout as of now, based on prima facie data, is not. It doesn't look like it would reach the percentage that we saw in 2019. Now, what does that mean? In my opinion, a lower voter turnout means it's a pro-incumbency vote. It means the opposition, there was no real reason for voters to come out and vote against a particular government and against Prime Minister Modi ji's leadership. But all these are things which the poll pundits will decipher in the days and weeks to come. To me, if Mumbai reaches or crosses 50% when the final data is out, I think that's still a good thing. but should we aspire to reach 60%, 70%, go to a higher figure as we see in rural parts of India? Absolutely. Why does that not happen? Honestly, it's a $1 million question, because in a city like Mumbai, as compared to a rural area, the booth is very close to you. It's an urban area. It's a densely packed city. You literally have to walk down a few blocks and you can reach and you can access your booth. But urban issues are also different from rural issues, and that comes to the core of it. If you look at India, traditionally rural voters come out in much larger numbers than urban voters. And when you look at urban voters, those from the higher economic strata come out in even lower numbers. So there is a direct correlation between
Milind, I have a theory.
what you need.
I have a theory, Milind. Milind, I have a theory. May I share
Go
it
ahead.
and then you tell me what you think? I think somewhere or the other, apart from the fact that Mumbaikars feel so overworked, they take the opportunity of every holiday, etc., apathy, all of that is there. But somewhere or the other, do you think urban voters and those in Mumbai feel that what's the point of me voting when my netas are not talking to me? I am not a vote bank. The salaried middle class Mumbaikar / urban Indian nobody is vote bank.
Look, I wouldn't say
Did anyone
that.
in this election talk about pollution, transport, the hassle of everyday commute and living in Mumbai? Just a theory here.
Okay, so the theory, here's how I would respond to that. Firstly, in India, the percentage of Indians who live in cities as compared to those who live in villages is about a third of Indians live in cities. You look at China, for instance, it's a highly urbanized economy. 2/3 of China lives in cities as compared to rural areas. India is urbanizing rapidly. I would certainly agree, and as this is something I, in fact, in one of my interventions in Parliament back in 2004, 20 years ago, said that there is a rural bias, which is good. We need to protect farmer interests. We need to protect the rural economy, strengthen it. But over time, Tamanna, there's no doubt that urban issues are beginning to get equal prominence as compared to rural issues. But there is also, as I was saying, that there is a direct correlation between economic strata and voter turnout. So there is a correlation between the fact that those who are better, who are sort of less, who are more privileged, the turnout in those areas is usually much, much lower. The underprivileged, certainly in rural areas or in urban areas, come out and vote in much larger numbers. And that is something we should change. There's no doubt about it. In fact, I would many times when I was, even during this election and every election before this, I always tell voters, of course, when I'm campaigning for my party or for myself or for a candidate that I'm working for. But I always end by saying, please come out and vote. Voting is it's your right. It's also your duty. But how do we change this apathy? Honestly, Election Commission has implemented various systems. The one encouraging factor is that in 2014, the voter turnout in Mumbai crossed 50%. Prior to that, the turnout in Mumbai used to be below 50%. And so there was a substantial jump in 2014, which was maintained in 2019. We will know in a few hours whether that we've reached the same level in 2024 or not. But there was a substantive jump, more awareness among voters, a younger population who are more aware of issues about politics, and that saw an almost 10% increase in Mumbai's turnout. Can we jump from 55% on average to 65% in a city like Mumbai? I would be the first one to be very, very happy if that happens. But it will take a lot of effort. It will take a lot of effort from politicians.
I have a political question before we conclude.
Sure, go
This
ahead.
is Radhika here, and I met you today at the polling booth right after you cast your vote. And I want to ask you once again this question. You have been contesting from South Bombay. Your family, the Auras, had been contesting for the longest time, for 40 years. But this time you were voting. You were not contesting. How does that feel? And also considering, at least this is what political analysts feel, that there is a sympathy factor for Sharad Pawar as well as Uddhav Thackeray. And therefore Congress within MVA may benefit as a result. So do you think you sort of jumped guns when it came to jumping ships because this is what several feel, that this could be advantage MVA. At least many observers feel that. What do you have to say?
Look, I think that the voter of Mumbai, of Maharashtra, of India, beyond a point, is not really concerned about, people are concerned about issues that affect them, not issues that affect one particular family that runs a particular party. And so ultimately, I think the voters of Mumbai, Maharashtra, and India are aware of what India has achieved in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years under the Prime Minister's leadership. And in that sense, I would certainly endorse the view that there is pro-incumbency, number one. Number two, to answer your first question, how did it feel to not be a candidate or not have a Deora on the ballot for the first time in 11 Lok Sabha elections in South Mumbai? I must admit, it felt strange. It felt emotional. My body clock was almost telling me that it's time to fight an election and it's time to go through that grueling process of being a candidate yourself, not campaigning for somebody else. But the good news is, Milind Deora is in the Rajya Sabha. My Janma Bhumi, my Karma Bhumi is South Mumbai, as I've been saying throughout this campaign. Although a Rajya Sabha MP represents all of Maharashtra, certainly my focus will be South Mumbai, and certainly I'll have a soft corner for the people of South Mumbai and do my level best to represent them. So I don't think South Mumbai they will continue to access me, will continue to be able to utilize whatever I bring to the table. I will continue to serve the constituency and the people of the constituency, cutting across economic strata, cutting across the entire diversity of the constituency to the best of my abilities. But certainly it feels strange. 11 elections in a row over 44 years is a long time. It's pretty much my entire lifetime. I'm 47 years of age. Throughout my life, I've been seeing Lok Sabha election after Lok Sabha election after Lok Sabha election. And in that sense, maybe, it was a little break for me and perhaps for the voters also. But I will continue to work as a Rajya Sabha MP in the same way as I was working as a South Mumbai MP, whether I was in power, whether my party was in power, or whether my party was out of power. South Mumbai, as I said, is where I live. It's where I was born.
Okay.
What happens in South Mumbai affects me as a citizen. So therefore, I have a stake in this constituency.
Milind, I'm sure you will represent, of course, South Mumbai well in any form or fashion. I hope you can devise a way to get more and more people from your constituency. It's one of the most prestigious constituencies in this country to actually come out and vote more. But thank you so much. I know you're short of time, but thank you so much for joining in on this special. All right, we're back on the ground. We're reporting from right outside the gateway of India, and we're talking about Mumbai today. And Mumbai is, not only about politics and Bollywood. It's also about business. It's about the stock market, which has been watching this election very, very closely. Ajay Bagga is now joining us. Ajay, great to see you here, and we're trying to get the pulse of Mumbai. So over the last few weeks, the conversation in the stock markets was they're getting jittery. We don't know what the outcome's going to be. But as the voter turnout figures started building up, that seems to have eased. As someone who tracks the markets, as a Mumbaikar, as someone who's voted today, one assumes? No, I didn't manage to vote.
No, my vote was in Delhi and I couldn't shift it to Bombay yet. So
next week you're flying to Delhi to vote? Yeah. All right. I'm going to check next week since we're going to hold you to it. All right. But someone whose home is Mumbai, what do you think that, Mumbaikars want from their netas, and why these low voter turnouts relatively? Even if we hit 54% of 2019, frankly, it's not the greatest.
But Tamanna, that is true for most of urban India. Entire Bangalore had about 54. Hyderabad had 46%. So 54, I think, is par for the course. You have a lot of, like in my immediate family, most of them stay abroad. And, with about 3.5-4 crore NRIs who still have voting cards here in India, you can add on that. But I would say correlating voting percentages to any decision outcome is a fallacious argument. Voting percentages are not a good enough, sound enough predictor for the outcome. But markets have made up their mind, and now we are 4/5 away. You got only 115 seats left now. 5 phases are done with. And I think I'm seeing the markets rallying into the 4th June. Markets have made up their mind.
Especially after what Prime Minister has said in the NDTV interview.
Yeah, he was quite confident, and as we always say, don't fight the Fed. In finance, I think in politics, don't fight the PM. He has the best information, and if he's saying this, I would follow that, and I would take positions based on that.
Let me also go across to China. China, we're talking about low voter turnout. I'd like to ask about the awareness drives that's perhaps necessary. Of course, there are campaigns, awareness drives that's happening. Length and breadth, celebrity campaigns happening. Then you have restaurants doling out offers. You have free yoga sessions, but still doesn't look like it's impacting. So do you think some penalty should be imposed? There should be education in schools. What do you think?
So there was somebody who said that, if every society comes up with 100% voting, we should also consider reducing property tax for that society. I think it's a great idea. There are lots of innovative ideas, lots of awareness campaigns. But what is important is for us to intrinsically feel the need to come out and vote. And that is something that cannot be taught to anybody. There cannot be apathy. And most importantly, I'd like to compliment the Election Commission, because wherever I went today, I realized that how their officials are doing their very best to not just help people, but to also encourage people to come out. So I think a little bit of the self-onus is on the Mumbaikar too.
All right, just one more word from Clyde on this.
It's not about countering China, but I'll tell you something. The Election Commission needs to get the act together. From across Mumbai city, and I'm talking about where I was also. I mean, the Election Commission, the way they came across to people, the education is not enough to educate people, right? Now, even the Election Commission staff, some booths they said you could take the mobile phones in, some said you couldn't take the mobile. You heard it. I mean, the cops were also not educated well. So I think overall the Election Commission of India obviously losing their credibility, but at the same time educating is not enough. I mean, they're talking about, we are sending out message, but it's not enough. People do not know. Okay, if the voters are not paying attention, at least their staff who are there in the booth, they should know. They did not know what some people said. Maybe the mobiles are out.
We need to take a break. We need to take a break. Sanjay needs to quickly come in.
Come back to you.
Everyone keeps talking about the Emperor's Council, because that's what Election Commission is. And I would say that beyond the EVM, the big issue is voter suppression. I have received several WhatsApp messages. I can show them to you during the break, where people have found couples who voted in all the elections so far. One of them is voting, the other one is not. And I can tell you, and I need to say this on your program right away, a particular minority community is being targeted by the entire system.
You'll have to back those claims, Sanjay. You'll have to back those claims. Okay, clearly the mood has turned political. We're going to talk about that after the break. But going into the break, I was speaking to Ajay Bagga about a comment that Prime Minister Modi made in that super exclusive interview to NDTV, and he talked about the Indian citizen not being shy and risk averse. He talked about how markets are going to respond on June 4th. Listen in. We're coming back right after this break.
4 जून जैसा आपने कहा, जिस दिन चुनाव का नतीजा आएगा, आप उस हफ्ते भर में देखना कि यानी भारत का स्टॉक मार्केट के लिए उसके सारे जो उनके प्रोग्रामिंग के जो प्रोग्रामिंग वाले सारे उनके थक जाएंगे।
जी बिल्कुल।
Welcome back to this special show that we're doing from right outside the iconic gateway of India. If you think of Mumbai, this is perhaps one of the first symbols that pops to mind. And of course, the Bandra Worli Sea Link. But the question that we're tackling in this segment is, why is Mumbai and Maharashtra becoming perhaps one of the most exciting bits of this election? And Radhika has been covering the heat and dust of the politics as well through all of the phases. 48 seats, that's why Maharashtra becomes crucial. Radhika, what is the key permutation and combination here, considering versus 2019 when there were 4 key players, now you have 6?
Exactly, 6 key players, and in many of the constituencies it's Sena versus Sena, especially in Mumbai. 3 constituencies, Sena versus Sena, 2 BJP versus Congress. In the Mumbai metropolitan region as well, be it Thane or Kalyan, it's again Sena versus Sena.
So 5 out of 10 is Sena versus Sena.
Yeah. So and that makes it very different from what it was before. You've never seen a Sena fighting against Sena, NCP fighting against NCP, and which is leaving the voters sort of disillusioned. And as Clyde and Sanjay Jha were pointing out, there are two different symbols we are talking about that may perhaps confuse voters and that may benefit Mahayuti, is something that some people are saying. So, but I want to take this question across to Shaina. Shaina, my question is, it's not a cakewalk for Mahayuti at this juncture. Looks like it because of all these divisions and splits. There is a sympathy factor for Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar, and BJP is heavily relying on Prime Minister Modi's charm, is what several feel.
I don't think we need to be apologetic about having the most charismatic leader that India has probably ever seen. Prime Minister Modi has delivered on ground as an honest, hard-working leader who has given you the stability, the referendum of progress. And in that reference, if you look at 2019 elections, what did the then Shiv Sena do? They fought on the premise of Prime Minister Modi, on his popularity, won the seats on the name of Modi ji, and when it came to being at this great grand wedding reception, they chose to run away with the runaway bride, went with the people with just lust for power as the only objective. The voter is way too intelligent, and let me tell you, that voter knows that who fought for whom,
you've also
with whom, and
so
how.
I'm going to let
And
him
the
come in.
people who have joined, a lot has been said about people joining the BJP. I just
All right,
want to
Clyde
say
wants
one
to respond
in
to
30
that.
seconds. 30 seconds. The people who have joined BJP have joined because of the popularity of Prime Minister Modi, the work that he's done, and they know when they go to the electorate, they have to go with that work. What are they going to say on the other hand? My son, my
Can I ask you
daughter.
one question before Clyde responds? You said in 2019 it was the charisma of Prime Minister Modi which took the Sena along, and that's why you had a... Why did you need the Eknath Shinde faction and the Ajit Pawar faction if the charisma of the BJP is enough? Because that's something people are asking. Would you have been better off on your own steam?
Look, this question has also been asked, to which I want to answer, and I want to answer very vociferously. Prime Minister Modi's popularity is his work. The people who have joined because they realize when they go back to the voter, they have to talk about work, and they can only talk about the work that the Prime Minister has done. There have been lots of reasons given by Eknath Shinde ji, how he was publicly humiliated, etc., why his legislators chose to pull out. Likewise with Mr. Ajit Pawar, and what happened with them and their whole family cauldron is known to one and all. But that apart, that is not BJP pulling them out. They have chosen to come.
But there were internal feuds within Mahayuti as well, ma'am. You chose the candidates much late. There were delayed selection of candidates because of internal
large
feuds.
political parties and alliances, you're going to have that kind of...
Okay, let Clyde respond. Yeah.
I'm going to take inspiration from what Shaina says. What Shaina said was they used Modi ji's name and then they went away. The same Modi ji, Adarniya Pradhan Mantri ji, called NCP naturally corrupt party. Okay, he accused Ajit Pawar of 70,000 crore scam. Shaina NC, you also accuse...
See, y'all don't have windows separating you like in studios.
So let's not talk about it. Now, after accusing somebody of 70,000 crore scam, Maharashtra Southern scam, you took them...
So was he corrupt or not?
He was not corrupt. They accused him. I'm still saying Ajit Pawar is not corrupt.
So no problem now.
So no, then why, so that's the whole problem. So if they left, Shiv Sena left BJP, what's the problem? Secondly, she said the voter is intelligent. Absolutely, the voter is intelligent. The same Prime Minister who called somebody corrupt, then made him sit next to him and asking votes for him, the voter is intelligent. They'll say the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi ji, at one time told me that these people are corrupt and now asking for votes. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is fooling me. I'm not going to get fooled. That's simple as that.
Okay, now I think because it's 2:1 here, I have to give Shaina an opportunity to respond. Only fair.
Look, Tamanna, it's very clear. What do people want in life? What do they want? They want empowerment, they want good education, security. Look at the way this Prime Minister has kept India secure. Look at what he's done for women, whether it's triple talaq or Nari Shakti Vandan or its abrogation of
China, as a voter in Mumbai, if I'm a voter in... No, 1 second. If I'm a voter in Mumbai, the kind of trapeze act of politics in the last 5 years could very well leave me disillusioned. Who did I vote for? If someone can jump at the top of a hat...
My mandate was not was the vote.
As a voter,
accusing
do you
somebody
want
of
infrastructure?
disregarding the mandate,
Do you want a coastal
then you have to
road?
accuse these people
Do you
of calling
want a
people who are corrupt,
metro?
no, in the
Do you want
party.
a Okay, Sanjay.
I just have one question to ask him, which is, of course, now barring all of this, how are the results going to impact one, the assembly elections, and of course the BMC elections, where Uddhav had been ruling the roost for the last 20 years? How decisive is this going to be, when you look ahead?
I can tell you confidently that the Maha Vikas Aghadi is sweeping the Lok Sabha elections, and if the assembly elections were to be held today, don't be surprised if the Mahayuti or whatever they call themselves will be reduced to a rump. I mean, the people here are angry. There is cynicism with the kind of politics the BJP has done. And therefore, I want to make 2 points. One, this election, not just in Maharashtra, Tamanna, but all over the country, has become one between the people of India against the BJP. The BJP is the establishment, authoritarian, sectarian, polarizing force. And I think people have understood that story. It has a limited shelf life.
Can I ask you a forward-looking question? Because frankly, now people have voted. Everything all of you are saying, with due respect, is your pre-campaign stuff.
Still left.
In Mumbai, people have voted. We're standing together today. People in Mumbai
we are
have
being
voted.
watched all over the country.
Correct.
Yeah.
My question is that has there been any clear promise to the people of this city from either side of what you are going to do to improve their lives if they vote for you? And speech after speech, because it's a general election, has become about the core political tussle.
Yes.
As a voter, and I'm going to ask her this question.
No,
I'm going to ask her this question. Do you even care about me as a voter?
Yeah. So let me answer very quickly. End of day, if you look at the alliance, the manifesto of all the alliance partners within the alliance of the India team, each one of them is focused on, one, to provide jobs to the young who are terribly under and, shall we say, unemployed, which is a serious crisis. This young lady here can probably manifest that. The second big issue is the overall dismantling of the Indian economy. There is a lot of hype over stock market and people talk about XYZ numbers. The truth is that in the last 5 years, India's GDP hasn't grown beyond 4.2%. The reason why Mr. Modi is an anxious man today is because the bread and butter issues have become the main theme of this election. No Hindutva, no communal.
I'm still not getting the answer of what has been promised to me. I'm standing in Mumbai right now. What has been promised to us as Mumbaikars?
China is best, I think. No, but Tamanna, what I would say, the biggest post-election study last time, 7 lakh people across the country, 3% people voted based on manifestos. Nobody believes the manifestos, nobody reads the manifestos. I totally disagree with Sanjay on a 4% economic growth. The numbers are there for everybody.
That's a number.
No,
Excuse me.
I can also give you the number.
Excuse me.
I am also a banker for 35 years. I understand the economy.
What is the GDP? 1 minute. Here's a challenge on NDTV to this gentleman who's an investment banker. Are you telling me on national television that the average GDP of India is not 4.2% since 2019?
Now you have changed it to average GDP. You are talking GDP numbers. The GDP numbers have grown.
Hello?
Give us the numbers.
I'll give you.
No,
the
give
What's
us
the number?
He's giving the numbers. You
What's
give
the number?
We are growing at
No,
more than 6.5%.
No, absolutely not. Show it. What show it?
I think 1 minute.
Last 10 years, the average is 5.9%. Mr. Bagga, you got it wrong.
About average, or are you talking about the last year?
challenge you right
When
now.
I'm challenging
Okay.
you are changing the guidepost.
She's looking intimidated in the middle of them, screaming 1 minute. Don't worry.
on the
Don't worry. Listen, guys, please,
And you keep
gentlemen.
on trying to
Gentlemen,
defend the
1 minute.
indefensible.
Numbers don't lie. He does and Mr. Modi
No,
does.
Okay, one
numbers
second.
don't lie.
No,
I
no.
don't lie. You lie.
1 second.
Standing amid all the political bigwigs, politicians, spokespersons. So just give us a word, last word from you.
Okay, I will speak for the youth and what the youth of the nation is supposed to do and what we want. We want to reduce unemployment, we want better healthcare, we want better infrastructure, we want farmers to be safer in our country, we want sanitation, and we want to reduce inflation. And if the political parties are providing this to us, it is not a favor. We are taxpayers. It is their duty, it is their responsibility. It is not a favor. We as Indians have really worship our leaders, but it should be the other way around. The leaders should worship us because it is us who bring them into the power.
Okay.
And
I think everyone. everyone can agree with what the youth voter is saying, and we're trying to get you as many voices, and kudos to you for not getting intimidated by all we are used to it, but kudos to you. Now so we have another special guest who we're also including, because this is a whole gamut of voices we want to get, and Shankar Mahadevan is joining us now on the show. Shankar, thank you so much for speaking with us here at NDTV. I want to start by asking you why you think this is such a crucial election.
I don't think this is a crucial election. I think every election is a crucial election, and this is one day when you get an opportunity to exercise your right, and it's a very big right. So I hope that people understand the magnitude of the situation, and people understand even a single vote can make a big difference to the bigger picture. So I think this is one right that you have to exercise it, and moreover, I think treat this as a celebration. Just go out there, vote, enjoy your right. That's one time when I think make use of this time when your family can come together, go out there, cast your vote, and be part of this election process.
We've been talking all evening about why maybe voter turnouts aren't that high. Do you think, Shankar, that somewhere there's a cynicism about, do the netas really care for us as citizens? Do you think that's fair?
See, firstly, I live in Navi Mumbai now, and the reason why I deliberately went mid-afternoon to vote, I wanted to check the pulse out, because I think there's a peak during the afternoon, and I heard from the officials over there that the voter turnout in Navi Mumbai has been phenomenal over here. So that's one good news over here. I understand what you're saying. See, at the end of the day, every person has to introspect a little bit and think a little, and whatever economic strata you are, wherever you are, whatever job you're doing, whatever pros, cons, happiness, sadness, whatever it is, you should introspect a little bit and see that, this is a very, very important moment in your life where you have to go and exercise your right. So, as you can say that, you can take the horse to the water, but at the end of the day, he has to drink it. So all we can do is urge people, and people need that self-motivation. And there are 100 excuses for everything, and every situation you can look at it from two angles, the right side and the wrong side, or the happy side and the sad side. So those are not excuses. Just go out there and vote. That's it.
Shankar, I'm curious to know, as a celebrity, as a well-known person, when you went out to vote today, what was the biggest factor or issue for you personally?
You are a citizen of this amazing democracy. One day in so many years, you get this opportunity to exercise your right. Go out there. Issues, there can't be a country without issues. Okay. And trust me, as we are a blessed country, our issues are much lesser than many countries. When I travel to even to Europe or to America, or to many other countries, I feel that I am in a blessed country. That's what I feel. See, one who cribs can go on cribbing. One who is happy, can also crib. So I'm just saying that issues are always there. There will be issues. And this is a country that is, reforming itself to a great extent. We are rising up there. We are shining right now. But that doesn't mean all issues are. How can you not have issues in a country of more than 1 billion people? So there are so many issues, but there are also positive aspects to it. So go and vote out there, thinking that your personal issues need to be, recognized. For example, maybe poor people getting food to eat, though a lot has been already done. It can improve further. Roads, whatever, infrastructure, everything. But it is all on the rise. You keep your issues also on the one side. On the other side, remember that you're in a blessed country. So go with this mixed emotion and vote out.
All right, so that was Shankar Mahadevan, who also broke into song. What a range of voices we've got today, Radhika, from celebrities to students to stock market to, of course, our political analysts and commentators. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest message coming out of Maximum City is not that people don't care. It just has to, maybe if I were to look at this constructively, there has to be an easier way for people to vote. Like,
Right.
I know a lot of people who wanted to vote but just didn't get the time to shift and check where their voter cards are. If we can just make
And
that process
incidentally,
simpler.
Today, when I went to a few polling booths in South Bombay, a lot of them did not figure in the list. In the one of the polling booths in Malabar Hill as well as Pedder Road, their names were not in the list. These are people elderly who've been voting there for 20, 30 years, but they just couldn't find their names in the list. And another important aspect is of Dharavi. People living in Dharavi, as a result of redevelopment, they shifted somewhere else, and their names also couldn't be figured in the previous.
I mean, the point is, at the end of it, what can we do to improve voter turnout? Maybe make it even easier for people, apart from the great job that the Election Commission has been doing. But that's all the time we have. Thank you so much to all of our viewers for coming in, and of course, all our speakers who've joined us from the gateway of India, the epitome of Mumbai.
Today, as a proud Indian, I'm able to do that. I'm really, really happy.
प्लीज वोट, हमारी जिम्मेदारी भी है।
कहोगे कि सरकार ये नहीं करती, वो नहीं करती, और अभी आज आप मतदान नहीं करोगे तो उसके लिए जिम्मेदार आप हो।